Hello, I'm Shane. I work with HeroX. I've been the one sort of being the project manager on our side of this project, in collaboration mainly with the NIOSH team here, which you're about to meet in just a moment. They're a bunch of wonderful, talented people, and so are our winners and finalists here from both phase one and phase two. We'll go through introduction in just a moment, but let me just share that if you want to just send us a little message and say where you're from or talk with each other, the chat's perfect for that. But if you want to ask a question to either myself, the panelists, or any of the winners, please do so with the little Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. The reason we ask for that is that will save the question. And so when we come back to the Q&A at the end of this or midway through, we'll be able to review what you actually asked. Sometimes things get lost in the chat, and so this is a bit of an easier way. With that said, why don't we transition over to doing some quick introductions? So you've heard about me, but I'm going to pass it to Adam Smith to talk about the NIOSH team. Adam.
Hello, everyone. I'm Adam Smith. I'm a senior scientist at the National Personal Protective Technology Laboratory, and I am the program/project manager overseeing NPPTL challenges. I will turn it over to Marianne now.
Hey everyone, happy to hear you today and see you. I'm Marianne D'Alessandro, the director of the CDC NIOSH National Personal Protective Technology Lab, and look forward to hearing the presentations today. Over to you, Lee.
All right, good afternoon. I'm Lee Greenewald. I am the acting branch chief for the evaluation and testing branch that is part of NPPTL, and our branch houses the brand protection activities that's associated with this work today. So thank you. Over to Angie.
Hi, everyone. I'm Angie Andrews, and I'm a physical scientist with NPPTL, and I've enjoyed all of the presentations and all, and look forward to today. Go ahead, Wesley.
Wesley Atwood. I'm also with NPPTL, and I look forward to hearing what we have going on today. Back to you, Shane.
That's wonderful. Thank you, guys. And then we'll just do quick introductions of our phase one and phase two participants here. Andy, how about you start us off?
Hi, everybody. I'm Andy Moy out of Houston, Texas for Team Egley, Team Prevenio.
Awesome. Thank you. And David?
Yes, good afternoon. This is Dave McSwain with SE Engineering. We're an environmental engineering firm based out of Dallas. And introduce my brother Bob, who's the technical person.
Sounds good. Guy with the brains. Not just being silly.
Yeah, that's going to get me in trouble with mom and dad. So yeah, Bob McSwain from SE on Engineering. Thank you so much for letting me be part of this.
You got it. And Team Digital Title.
Oh yes, hi, my name is Jasmine Brinson, and I'm a part of Team Digital Title, and my co-founder is Jay Lay.
Over, Jay.
Hey, my name is Jay. I'm from Digital Title. We are also from Texas. Okay. We try to bring some new idea, a new approach to solve this counterfeiting problem, and hopefully we can convince people.
Awesome. Thank you all. With that, why don't we get our presentation kicked away then? You just give me 1 second. I will get that shared here. I want to make sure that I have everything optimized for audio. And again, if you do have any questions or thoughts on the as we're going through this, please feel free to leave them in the Q&A section, and we will return to them. Okay, Adam, go ahead and take it away.
So hello again, everybody. Again, I'm Adam Smith. I am a senior scientist at NPPTL. And I would just like to first off say we are very excited to present to you today the winners of the NIOSH Counterfeit N95 Challenge. Before hearing from the finalists, I'm going to provide some background and an overview of the challenge. Next slide. Personal protective equipment, or PPE, is essential in occupational settings because it provides a crucial line of defense against various workplace hazards, helps ensure regulatory compliance, and contributes to overall well-being and safety of workers. respiratory protection safeguards individuals from inhaling hazardous substances, airborne contaminants, or particles that may pose a threat to the respiratory system. This type of protection is crucial in various occupational settings where workers may be exposed to harmful substances such as chemicals, dust, fumes, gases, vapors, or biological agents. Respiratory protection can also play a critical role in controlling the spread of infectious respiratory diseases such as COVID-19. Next slide. The National Personal Protective Technology Laboratory, or NPPTL, is a division of the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health, NIOSH, which operates within the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. One of the primary responsibilities of NPPTL is to test and approve respirators used in U.S. occupational settings. This function ensures that respirators meet minimum construction, performance, and respiratory protection standards. When a respirator has been approved by NIOSH, you can be confident that the device will provide the expected level of protection as long as it fits properly and you wear it correctly. After approval and once respirators are on the market, NIOSH Respirator Approval Program also conducts post-market conformity assessment evaluations. Protecting end users from wearing respirators misrepresenting NIOSH approval is part of post-market activities. Next slide. Counterfeit respirators specifically refer to products trying to copy an actual NIOSH-approved model. Misrepresented respirators include all respirators that are falsely marketed and sold as NIOSH-approved respirators when they are not. Both counterfeit and misrepresented respirators may not be capable of providing the appropriate or necessary respiratory protection to workers and users. NIOSH posts information about misrepresented and counterfeit respirators to alert users, purchasers, and manufacturers. Next slide. Only respirators evaluated by the NIOSH Respirator Approval Program that meet the minimum NIOSH requirements are considered to be NIOSH-approved respirators. However, products exist in the marketplace that are not NIOSH-approved and may intentionally or unintentionally mislead end users into thinking they are. To address this issue, the NIOSH Respirator Approval Program registered certification marks specific to NIOSH-approved respirators. Registration of certification marks provides the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and NIOSH with broader rights and protections under the law. Certification of marks registered in the United States include filter classes of NIOSH-approved respirators such as N95, the term NIOSH-approved, and the NIOSH stylized logo. The N95 certification mark and NIOSH-approved marks are also registered in other countries. NIOSH monitors online marketplaces for products that misuse these certification marks and pursues action as necessary, such as having product listings removed. Next slide. NIOSH urges all buyers to inspect a respirator or its packaging for the required labeling prior to purchase. You can view information on the Buyer Beware section of the NIOSH Respirator Trusted Source Information webpage to identify what to look for to determine if a model is NIOSH approved. You can also find information for products that have been identified as counterfeit or being misrepresented as NIOSH approved. However, simply providing this information isn't enough. Next slide. NIOSH posed the question to the crowdsourcing community. How can information about counterfeits be made more understandable, accessible, or streamlined so that both vendors and purchasers of N95 filtering facepiece respirators are better informed? NIOSH partnered with NASA's Centers of Excellence for Collaborative Innovation and HeroX to develop the NIOSH Counterfeit N95 Challenge. This challenge launched in September of 2022 and was structured in 2 phases. In phase 1, proposals were submitted explaining strategy and approach. In phase 2, participants were asked to generate a proof of concept for their proposal. The ultimate goal of this challenge are to reduce the number of counterfeit N95 FFRs on the marketplace and to improve confidence of end users who will purchase these products. Today, we will hear about the solutions that were developed from the 4 challenge finalists. Next slide. These 4 teams produced winning results and were awarded $145,000 in prize money during this challenge. The challenge winners, Aseon Engineering, are here to tell you about their filter and facepiece respirator phone app and website to help people check the authenticity of a respirator. The 3 other finalists have received an honorable mention, and they are here today to also talk about their solutions. Ethos Authentication, Standards for NIOSH Registry by Team Egli Provino, developed a registry allowing manufacturers to upload and share provenance and data across the supply chain, ensuring a respirator's compliance and authenticity. Veriscue by Lead Brands team developed a cloud-based platform that initiates media outreach to communities affected by respiratory health threats, providing information on how to authenticate NIOSH-approved respirators. Digital Title by Team Digital Title developed a decentralized distributed title recording system that demonstrates respirator proof of ownership to end users. Next slide. Before turning things back over to Shane, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everyone that participated in this challenge. The 4 challenge finalists produced innovative solutions that could help vendors or users become better informed and confident that the respirator they purchase will provide the protection needed to keep the wearer safe and healthy. Thanks to the NASA COSI team and HeroX for helping make this challenge a success. And thank you to the judges and my colleagues at NPPTL that participated in the evaluations. With that, I'll turn things back over to Shane.
That's wonderful. Thanks for that reminder of what this challenge sought to achieve, Adam, and surprising innovations that we got as a result. So now to hear about the surprising and helpful solutions, we're going to talk about these 4 teams here, as Adam suggested, starting with Team Aseon. So with that, I think it's Bob and David's turn.
Appreciate that very much. Thank you very much. I think the rest of the teams and us can agree it was a very long but worthwhile experience, and we were very thankful to have participated. Our process is based on a validation app. And so if you can see, there's 3 levels. So we start with data normalization, looking at the existing database that's maintained by NIOSH, developing an offsite, so secure validation database, and then an app which would actually reach back and pull this information, followed with the results of whether or not it appears to be a valid or a fraudulent N95 respirator. Next slide, please. The data normalization concept is that, if you can see that, we basically wrote a Microsoft Visual Basic code with 98.6% accuracy based on our baseline. The second thing is the automatic dataset updates. And as you can see with highlighted in red, so the first time we looked at it, there was an error, 2737-OV2734. We basically were able then to validate that. At the end of the assessment, we had 76 different anomalies were identified in the database. And that's something that we are working toward, data normalization. Next slide. This is the key parts of it. So the first part is the TC approval number. Second part is the actual model or part number, approval number, and then the model part number. And one of the key things on that is that, I'm just reading through is that all 3 of these components are reviewed for every single N95 respirator that's being evaluated. Next slide. Oh, there you go. Thank you. So here's how it works. The first part is you start with submit the TC approval number, followed by the list of variable manufacturers and or private labels. And so one approval number can have both. And that was one of the things we differentiated and evaluated. Second part is that you'd actually then put the model or part number, and then there would be one of 3 results, either a good confidence, a moderate confidence, or a low confidence. And we actually dove into quite detail, but we're just going to do a quick overview for that today. Next slide, please. So as you can see, one of the key things is that if there is unverifiable information, we're presuming it to be fraudulent, to be determined, validated otherwise. And then there's a low confidence, a moderate. And one of the elements that we really want to focus on is a voluntary brand protection picture augmentation by the manufacturers. And that's something that we'll be focusing on as part of this process. Next slide, please. Once we've actually validated and did normal data normalization, we want to present that into a website as a link to our app, VeriMask, where you have one place where you can type in any information if you're at home, or you could use the app if you're in a field environment. Next slide. This is the concept of the web page. I want to focus on the first two, the respirator database and then the dashboard. Next slide. As you can see here, these are the USA-based manufacturers. While we looked at and went through all the manufacturers, we want to focus on the 24 that are US-based. And so one of the things that we would do is to do the validation augmentation voluntarily to find out which respirators are currently being manufactured, which respirators are currently being supported, and integrate that into our phone app database. Next slide. One of the key outputs is for the community to be able to identify where there is a hotspot. So in this example, we had 1,000 proposed respirators, and we had a 3.6 potential falsehood. What we want to really focus on this is that you're able to drill down into each FEMA region, and then based on each actual event, you can click on it and find out where the potential fraudulent respirator is actually being sold, the actual respirator model number, and that allows for a quick response before things become problematic. That is, in a nutshell, our proposal, and we were very thankful to have been a participant. Next slide, and that's questions and answers. I'll turn it back to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, David. I really appreciate it. Your team did a wonderful job in this challenge, as did all of them. I even spotted Team Egley there on your database chart, so we get hearing from them soon too. But yeah, for now, why don't we keep the ball moving? And this competitor actually isn't available to join us today, but Team Veriscue, which consists of Lee Brand and let's see here, Roger Hewitt and Sam Wertheim, they created a solution that was also chosen as a winner for phase 1 and then an honorable mention for phase 2. But in lieu of their attendance, we're going to watch a little video presentation that they have. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you can hear this.
In a representative case study, one NIOSH holder on the front lines of the pandemic experienced high demand as the threat of COVID weighed over the country. As the outbreak surged, several unapproved manufacturers appeared and began making counterfeit versions of the company's products. The company would soon be losing approximately 50% of its market share to bad actors. The NIOSH holder responded by introducing a QR code authentication label, enabling consumers to scan the code to verify product authenticity. However, the solution initially had little impact. To address this, the company launched a simple PR campaign to educate the public on how to use the QR code. With the addition of the educational component, the fraud was effectively eradicated almost overnight. This demonstrates the power of combining a user-friendly authentication method with an education campaign targeted at a population experiencing high perceived risk. So the question becomes, how can we educate the public when there are no perceived risks without incurring exorbitant costs? By modeling real-world scenarios and analyzing how human behavior influences purchasing habits, Veriscue developed Trustmark and Overwatch, a comprehensive authentication system that features intelligent event monitoring and media distribution. This approach leverages off-the-shelf technology and the principles of risk perception and its influence on decision-making. People are being affected by respiratory health events every day somewhere in the world. These affected populations perceive varying degrees of risk, influencing their attentiveness to respiratory protection information. Overwatch identifies these events by leveraging APIs from intelligence platforms that analyze data inputs from all regions of the world in hundreds of languages. When Overwatch determines which population areas will be impacted, It publishes predetermined ads from NIOSH and/or NIOSH holders to the affected populations in real time. And because Overwatch attaches a region-specific end card to every piece of media disseminated through the system, the audience receives a repetitive and consistent message on how to verify the authenticity of NIOSH-approved N95 respirators. Trustmark is a secure label authentication solution which features a consistent identifiable graphic. The Trustmark reinforces trust, impacting perceived quality and value. Consumers can easily scan the Trustmark using their smartphones, providing immediate feedback to the client in the form of a certificate. The consumer is prompted to check the certificate's web address. The address must start with the exact spelling of niosh.gov to be genuine. A user-friendly interface allows consumer feedback on suspicious activity by adding notes and photographic evidence for aiding in enhancing security measures and the investigation of illegal activities. All suspicious scans are flagged and processed as suspicious activity reports and made available to NIOSH for further investigation. VerySKU's simple cloud portal enables NIOSH and NIOSH holders to manage all aspects of Trustmark and Overwatch. The system operates autonomously and can be paused and edited at any time. To set up or customize VerySKU, the client can open Trustmark and edit the number of labels needed, and then configures Overwatch by establishing a media catalog designed for the relevant regions. The Overwatch interface provides guidelines for creating and formatting media. VerySKU's creative services team can develop media for NIOSH and NIOSH holders, or format existing media and tailor it for social platforms in different countries. The client can categorize media by region, type, and metadata. Overwatch automatically attaches the Trustmark end card onto all media spots, guaranteeing that information for authenticating NIOSH-approved N95 respirators is consistently being absorbed by the public. Once the media is prepared, the client selects the regions they wish to focus on and then chooses the campaign type. Selecting Target initiates media campaigns exclusively for populations affected by respiratory health events, which are calibrated to conclude as events subside. This approach yields a superior ROI compared to conventional approaches. Alternatively, choosing General allows the client to execute a broader media campaign not linked to specific events. The control panel provides comprehensive reports on event occurrences, launched ads, performance metrics, and crowdsourced data from consumers who have scanned their products. VerySKU's Trustmark and Overwatch molds consumer behavior with a fraction of the cost compared to traditional methods, and isolates the bad actors by making fraud too costly. Thank you for your consideration.
Okay, impressive graphics there for sure. And again, these are concepts that each of the teams have proposed to be a potential solution to some of these issues. The NIOSH team will be considering how they can either incorporate or combine or advance these initial concepts to actually have an impact. So that's one way to envision this at a larger scale. But with that, again, please feel free to leave any of your questions in the Q&A box. Here we go. I've got us back on track. Over to Team Digital Title now. Why don't you take it away, Jay or Jasmine?
Yeah, I'll start. Next page. So I just wanted to start off by saying thank you for hosting this competition, the Hero Team X, Shane, and everyone else. I know that I learned a lot over these past couple of months with the input we received, and it was just a really great experience overall. So Digital Title offers an NFT-based, low-cost, data-driven anti-counterfeiting solution to help brand owners fight IP infringement. And I think we're the first to use a decentralized title recording system to identify and prevent fakes while still ensuring privacy protection. Next slide, please. Okay. So this slide firstly outlines the process a user of the Crypto C14 web application can do to complete a basic item level search. To the right, we have an example of a N95 mask packaging. On the outside, we can find the brand holders and third parties program trademarks. And on the lower right of the packaging, there is an identification QR code with an NFT logo. by plugging this product ID into our application, we can find out who generated this ID, which can be identified by a blockchain wallet address. The permission to use third-party trademarks are delivered as certificates. And to the left, this is an example of a certificate. The yellow section can be read as the ID generator with such wallet address is permitted to display the mark of NIOSH N95 on its product. And it also provides the permission expiration and ending date. The green part is a validation token for verifying the data integrity of the permission. This token can be interpreted as the checksum of the permission data, digitally signed by the trademark owner. So if the signer makes an announcement on the public key of their digital signature, consumers can then determine the real-world identity of the signer. These public keys are called trademark validators, and each trademark should have at least one. And so far, what I've covered was a basic item level title search. What this can do is that it can guarantee that the source of authorization is authentic. So while it's impossible to fake a certificate or legitimate ID without cracking the encryption algorithm, the issue with this is that bad actors can still simply replicate existing IDs to deceive consumers. So to prevent the double spending of existing IDs, consumers should claim the ownership of an ID by redeeming the NFT generated by a certificated ID generator. Our solution, a redemption code generated by a partnering facility, can be discovered on the inside of the package, as shown on the right. And once this process is done, the product will then be marked as sold. And as long as a brand owner still possesses the NFT, they can mark a product as any status. So when consumers discover a cloud-in title at pre-sale, such as sold, on hold, or expired status, they should stay away from this product or record it to their local authority. So basically, to encompass the solutions process, a consumer needs to do a title search and then claim ownership of the product with its hidden redemption code. And this process normally takes a few seconds and is zero cost to the consumer. Next page. Can you go to the next page? Okay, thank you. Here, just kind of explain what NFT is and how it relates to our solution for a short bit. So an NFT is a crypto asset that can be generated or traded in as one whole unit, and each NFT has a unique ID. In digital title, our authentication element is not the data label with the NFT or product ID numbers, but instead it is the NFT stored on the blockchain. It acts as a tokenized letter of authentication, a certification of authenticity, and a statement of ownership. There are 3 parties involved to implement this solution: the trademark owner, the factory, and their final consumer. So the trademark owner, the intellectual property owner, should provide a digitally signed certificate to use their trademarks. The factory needs to obtain and offer certificates for consumers to validate. And finally, the consumer should perform a pre-sale title search and claim ownership once they receive the physical product. Since product IDs are public by information by design, a title search can be performed at any stage, anywhere, anytime, even before the physical product has been made or received. This can be beneficial for the shippers, retailers, and customs and border protection officers, and they should take advantage of this feature that's available on the digital title. And below, this diagram shows the 3 parties involved in using the Crypto C14 web app to connect to a blockchain API nodes for signing a digital signature and generating NFTs. Brand owners are required to host their own HTTP server for the redemption process. So this anti-counterfeiting method described here can be implemented virtually on any blockchain technology that supports the generation of NFTs. And in the future, the role of our team will be to basically act as a publisher of trademark validators, kind of like a phone book publisher. Next slide. And that's basically, thank you for listening to me. And if you have any questions, you can divert them to Jaylay. But for now, back to Shane.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. This definitely was one that pushed the boundaries of what we expected in a solution. And so it even had us bring some more talent onto the team to make sure we could evaluate and understand this one properly. So thank you for bringing some new technology to the sphere. Okay, and last but certainly not least, Andy from Team Egli Prevenio. It's like you might still be coming off mute there.
Did you want me to share off the PowerPoint or just use these slides?
Oh, yes, that's right. Why don't we have Andy share here so you get the full-on experience, guys. Thanks, Andy.
Okay, sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Andy Moy. I was CEO of Egli and Prevenio. Our goal in response to this competition was to build a registry akin to Carfax, where we used NFC chip technology, where each has a unique ID, and kind of like a VIN number, you'd be able to search across the database to find manufactured products that were NIOSH approved, so that only the ones that were created by the manufacturers are able to be searched by both regulatory CDC, as well as enforcement and distributors as consumers alike. What makes our team a little bit unique is we're also the only NIOSH manufacturer. So we were actually in this kind of firsthand, seeing us getting counterfeited by bad actors and overseas. So we combated this from the very beginning. Our team started it with its roots in Silicon Valley. My background's in private equity venture capital with specialization in cybersecurity. So this was kind of very near and dear to my heart. This journey for us started March 2020. We started by selling overseas masks, and I didn't want to get sued by hospitals. It was very new, but I had overseas supply chain, being Chinese American, having done import, export, and e-commerce. We did over $26 million in sales in the first month, and April of 2020, we closed $50 million of a large N95 manufacturer. However, our orders were canceled by the manufacturer because we violated their channel compliance selling industrial filtration masks to a surgical hospital environment. And so with that, I was like, I think we should go out and start our own factory, which was kind of a crazy idea in April of 2020. So I have no background in medical manufacturing, but wanted to kind of highlight our team and some of our accomplishments in terms of what
Andy,
we were.
Can you move the overlay real quick again?
Oh, yeah, sorry, let me hide this.
You got it. Go for it.
No worries. Okay, there we go. That should be better. So I'm gonna play this video just so you guys get some idea of scale of the factory that we built here, here in Houston, Texas. Our effort and team, again, innovation at our core. We were the first to build a interwoven antimicrobial mask, obviously implementing our technology from day one. Our chips were in production to over 155,000 boxes of masks. And, you know, we were able to get 6 NIOSH certifications, including a private label contract. We also produced kids masks in response to a high filtration kid standard using KF94 masks. We had over 90,000 square feet of manufacturing, ISO 5.7 clean rooms, and we were able to, you know, produce over 6.5 million masks during our time. As you can see, these are some of our products that highlighted us. Some of our accomplishments: we were a finalist for a BARDA Innovation Concept for Material Science. Obviously, HeroX Phase 1 winner. We worked with government contractors. We sold on e-commerce. We worked with nonprofits like Project N95. And we were even highlighted by the Washington Post for having a more sophisticated approach in terms of safety. The article was highlighting the challenges with consumers buying masks. Again, we had a front row seat to this. We saw manufacturers that were basically repackaging, counterfeiting packaging. I'll show you an example of that here shortly. This is our Amazon reviews. We were the #1 selling N95 manufacturer. And as you can see, overseas manufacturers changed it to KN95, or they put their manufacturing address in China, for example. And so even though we were the manufacturer of record and we were certified on the CEL list and everything else that folks have talked about here today, did not prevent bad actors from counterfeiting our packaging and using Amazon's infrastructure to replicate. We also saw this in Walmarts and brick and mortars. And so it was a public health crisis in the sense that people were buying masks thinking they were buying certified or approved products when really there was no diligence done by a lot of the marketplaces. And so why it's important to what we're doing, I'm going to share another video. As you can see, the chip goes inside of the package. You tap it, works with any mobile phone, iPhone 6 or higher, or Android. And then we provide date of birth of the manufacturing, the lot number, 4-digit two-factor PIN, as well as the test report, the same one that NIOSH would audit us. In fact, to show transparency that the masks that you purchased were produced in a lot at our factory and tested and met standard, audited by NIOSH. So we were transparent in providing all that data. And, you know, we had some pretty good success. Again, over 155,000 boxes shipped, allowed us to get geolocation. We had people purchase our masks from all over the world, even had a ping inside of the White House, which was kind of exciting. So, you know, we answered the call in terms of reshoring American-made manufacturing and leveraging some of my background in technology, produced a production-ready technology to help folks feel better. We had a lot of customers buy our products specifically because of the NFC technology. And as it pertains to kind of this contest, we're going to open this registry up to other high-value goods, luxury, cosmetic, health, nutraceuticals, consumables, and other industrial supplies that require specific certification. We work very closely with testing labs like SGS, Intertech, BSI, et cetera, and in terms of helping consumers feel safe about their purchases. This has been a fantastic journey, a little bit bittersweet. Unfortunately, our mask business went out of business, and this technology is kind of the lasting legacy of that. So I was happy to share that as part of this competition and appreciate the host for the contest. Thank you, everybody.
Got it. It's a pretty powerful story. So thank you so much for sharing with us, Andy. Let me see here. I think that's about it for now. Why don't I invite all of our attendees to click that Q&A button down there. Go ahead and add something in there if you want to ask any of our finalists a question. And then if you have anything for the NIOSH team or me, you're welcome to ask that too. But honestly, congratulations to you all for the work that you've done. I think the reactions feature doesn't exist on this one, but if I had a reaction feature, I would give you guys a little applause. Okay, well, while people are working on their questions, why don't I first start by asking Adam or Marianne, perhaps, how has using crowdsourcing in this way been different for you guys, how you approach problem solving? Did this challenge surprise you in any ways?
I can answer that first if as I say that, Marianne goes off mute. But you know, traditionally, you know, we have we'll pursue vendors through contracting mechanisms, and you kind of get solutions to problems that are kind of you know, they're expected. Through this challenge process, we really opened up our horizon to investigate other types of technologies from a different perspective or point of view. So, and you can see from the backgrounds of the finalists here, it's a pretty diverse group. So, we're very happy with you know, the results, getting the different perspective. And the diversity of solutions gives us something to really think about going forward.
Yeah, and I'll just add to what Adam said, that our role in this whole effort is to catalyze innovation. And through this challenge, I think we saw innovative solutions, and they went probably beyond what we were thinking. We had no idea what we would receive. So through this, you know, we've supported the innovators with this prize purse, but the hope is that we'll be gaining interest of those of you who are participating today, who may have an interest in taking these innovations to the next level. And perhaps in the future, if there were additional government funding, they may be taken to the next level in that regard as well. But that was really the purpose, to, you know, catalyze innovation and then see where we landed and what ideas they may spark in us having future contracts together where we may be more specific based on what we saw. So let's see if Lee or Angie or Wesley have anything you want to add.
Yeah, This is Lee. Yeah, no, just to echo you and Adam. I mean, this is the first crowdsourcing challenge I've been a part of. I know this is something new for NIOSH, so I learned a lot. I mean, we would have never gotten this this kind of diverse work if we were trying to develop this ourselves. So I think it was a great opportunity for us to see what the private sector can do. So yeah, no, we really appreciate all the innovations and thought and work that went into this. Thanks.
That's great. Yeah, thank you all for that thought. I know that crowdsourcing can be a surprising pathway for all sorts of people. It's kind of strange putting an idea out there and just trusting the community to come with solutions. But we had 4 teams here that were incredibly passionate. I remember thinking to myself when this launched, oh wow, this is it's topical and timely, but it is pretty complicated, and it requires an in-depth knowledge of how the system works. And here, all 4 of you guys came and showed up, and you gave us your energy. You were passionate about the subject, and you clearly thought about it quite a lot to the point where some of you had already implemented solutions yourselves. With that, I might ask the panelists in general. Let's see here. What was something that you learned from your experience participating in this challenge? Did you come to change your perspective on the issue, or feel that a different form of a solution was better than what you first imagined? That's open to any of the panelists.
So I work at a in the supply department of a level 1 hospital in Texas, and more than a few times I've been faced with a situation where a package comes in and I look at it. I really have no way of telling, is this a legitimate part or if it's counterfeit? So it kind of colored my perception how I approach this. And then seeing how all these different approaches, I've become more knowledgeable or realize it's not a very simple fix. And what the CDC is doing is actually, I think it's really a really good thing. It's a start for how can we improve our supply chain, across the board. So from a personal level, I'm pretty happy to be part of this, but also understanding some of the challenges the regulatory folks are facing to clean this up.
Absolutely, well put, Bob. Any other thoughts from our other finalists?
Just my thoughts here is there's ongoing. Everyone on this call cares about this passionately, and I think that's important. There was a lot of fatigue. People didn't want to talk about masks as regulations lacked and time lapsed, and it's a very hard job. NIOSH was overwhelmed with applications, just fraudulent applications of people trying to be a fake mask company, and then having to deal with all these different reports. Government agencies, hospitals were frauded firsthand. I had conversations with the FBI because people were counterfeiting us. I mean, having lived through it, I'm very passionate about this. I try to follow up with National Academy of Science and NIH in terms of what were the lessons learned. And so my lasting thought here is for the people that do care, like I mentioned on here, is how do we not repeat this? How do these technologies and solutions prevent future ways? I mean, what inspired me to do this from the private sector was I kept asking myself, there has to be a better way. I mean, people are sending me lots of masks and gowns like it was a kidnap video saying, hey, this is the date with a newspaper showing me that this lot existed. I go pay an auditor to go to that warehouse and there's nothing in there. So people were getting wire frauded, scammed. I mean, it was a chaotic time, if you guys can remember back 3 years ago. And so, that was the impetus for me in terms of implementing the solution. I had been using this technology for collectibles and other valued goods. And so I thought maybe we could use this for masks. And I think from a mask manufacturer perspective, it's not profitable. It was heavy intensive. I had folks labeling and scanning, and there's a cost center to that, and that makes me not as competitive to other mask manufacturers. And as much as we like to say buy America and incentivize all this, I see it in other industries like the energy industry. For the mask industry, a lot of the distributors, I won't name them, they would prefer to buy the overseas cheaper products that may or may not be certified to standard. And it's very hard because, NIOSH sets all the standards, but the reality is there's no enforcement. The FBI, they're not looking for this. Amazon, they're not opening boxes and checking to see if these masks are legitimate. So I do believe it's a public health crisis, and if we had one tomorrow, I still don't think we're prepared. So I leave it with everybody else to kind of see how we can prevent this for future. And I truly want to see us to learn from these lessons learned and not go by the wayside. And then this happens again in 5 years and we're back to square one.
Thank you, Andy. Very poignant. Yeah, you're certainly right that it was pretty complicated a few years back. And so hopefully we can use this time of normalcy to get back on track. Let's see, haven't had any other poignant questions rise in the Q&A yet. So I'm going to go to some of the ones that we had submitted in advance of the webinar. One other question there is, let's see here. Someone was asking if NIOSH has any sense of where they'd like to move forward with this. Sort of, I think it's it looks like the question was written in an open-ended fashion, so respond to that how you will. But yeah, they were curious to hear like what you'd like to do with the solutions.
Yeah, I think I answered that in my comments that, you know, our role here was to catalyze innovation. And then once we did that, the hope is that there may be some, you know, investors out there who may be interested in taking this further. And, you know, we are always able to receive money through CDC Foundation, NIOSH is, but then these individuals here are able to, of course, receive money as well. And then if you know, federal funds become available, then that's a possibility too. At this point in time, there are no federal funds available to take these further. So the hope is that, you know, there may be, you know, a lot of great ideas here and a lot of possibilities for all 4 of these options. So I think they were all great ideas, great solutions, just different ways to target what the issue is.
Thanks, Marianne. That makes a lot of sense. You know, Andy, you already mentioned that there would be some ways in which you've seen this work in other places. Maybe I'll ask Team Digital Title, have you guys seen any places that your technology could work in other fields as well? Certainly blockchain and crypto technology is being used to authenticate things in finances, et cetera. But yeah, did you see any other applications for your own technology?
Hi, yeah, actually our solutions was starting with something else. It's starting for like a more like a collectible items instead of a consumable face mask. And when we taking this challenge, one part is, okay, can you guys scale to scale up to like a handle millions of product? And that really shocking us, and that really pushing us as well. That's one thing, and which is pretty good. I mean, our solution was able to handle like a couple thousand a day. Right now we can handle 1 million. And without this challenge, I couldn't imagine we will be at that point. And the other thing is the trademark validator. It was an idea we had a year ago, but before this idea was able to only handle from one trademark owner, for example, from the brand holder. But the NIOSH challenge can actually confirm once the counterfeiting product is not the physical product itself, not just the physical product, but the authorization or third-party certification program. So our solution before was only able to handle one, but going through this challenge, we are able to handle multiple certification program or handle multiple trademark. Even, for example, even we want to have a Disneyland logo on our product, on our NIOSH master product. I don't know why, but if we want, we can ask Disneyland to providing us a digital signature of their certificate. I think that's it's a great experience for us, and I think we achieve what we want. Okay.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, Jay. Cool story that this challenge is able to catalyze you guys to develop your technology and make it even more effective. I'm grateful to hear that. But yeah, I think we're kind of wrapping up naturally here then. I think we don't have any other burning questions from our audience. I will ask our audience, if you can, to please put a kind word, just like Mehul did in the chat there. Go ahead and congratulate our teams here for their hard work. You probably haven't seen it, but they've been working on this for over a year. And so big kudos to them. But to wrap it up, I will ask any of the panelists, do you have any final words, any thoughts to the other members here? I'll give you one more chance to share anything you'd like.
So I'll just add to maybe a little bit of what Marianne was talking about as far as, next steps with this. And, while we may not have the funding internally to take any of these to the next steps, it has made us look at these technologies and think about them as, the respirator approval program. So I know, Lee and I have had conversations about, wow, this is how this technology works, or this approach, or this campaign, and how we could leverage that in the future, or how we should think about strategically how we do things. So that's been another added benefit of this challenge as well.
Awesome. So glad to hear that, Adam. Yeah, I think this challenge has been impactful in more of the ways than one. I can say that it's been enjoyable for me to be able to sit here and see you guys progress. I think that's about it then. If we don't have any further thoughts from our winners and finalists, I'll give you one more congratulations. But with that, I think we'll wrap up, team.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you so much. We really appreciate all of you.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes, thanks, everyone. Great solutions.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a good day.
Way to go, guys. Take care.
Thank
See
you.
y'all.
Bye. Thanks.